Hi YouTube. I've had to film this video so many times today. Same thing happened with Scorpio ascendants. It's weird, but it's okay. Something I've realized that when I shuffle my tarot and I talk about whatever placement I'm talking about, cards fall out, and I never really took the time to look at the cards. But now I'm looking at the cards and it's kind of trippy. I mean, there's not really, like, I don't do any setup or anything where it's like the Celtic cross or like any of that. I just let them fall out because it's easy that way. And I kind of want to talk about it. I've never done this, so you guys get to see the first thing I do. I was talking about Pluto in retrograde transiting the 7th house, right? Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, transformation. 7th house is about intimate partnerships, like your long-term partnerships and your marriages and all that stuff. Whatever house Pluto in retrograde is transiting in is the house that is asking us of us to kind of be reevaluated, to reassess those things of the house and to plant new seeds, pull out the roots, plant new seeds, deeply analyze, deeply look within ourselves for answers and conclusions and the problems, get to the root of the problem, and that's all found within us because Pluto is a very psychoanalytical planet that has to deal with a lot of our psychological behaviors and our psychological fears and our wants and our needs, our primal wants and needs. And that word primal is very important because it's honestly asking us, I'm not thinking about primal as in primary, like primal animals and primal needs and wants in that type of way, that animalistic way. I'm talking about primal in like primary. So what you learned first. And the first thing that we learn about our relationships is through our parents when we're young. The relationship and the bond that they had affects the bonds that we attract and the partners that we attract. So however your mom treated your father and however your father treated your mother is kind of what we look for in a partner. How we feel as if we should be treated because that is how we were raised and that is kind of what we saw, what we were taught. Monkey see, monkey do. And that can be very detrimental to people that grew up in abusive homes or just a marriage that was more disconnected or a marriage that may have been just disharmonious. So that can be very challenging for people, but that could also be very beautiful if your parents had a very beautiful marriage and it was very united and all that. But I have a feeling that that may not be the case for everybody watching this. I feel like there's a lot of issues within a family and a parental marriage that we don't really see until we kind of get older and we start getting into relationships and we start understanding how people work with each other, you know, because we learn about ourselves through relationships, whether they're friendships or romantic relationships, but usually we learn more about ourselves through romantic relationships because we're starting to understand what we want and what we need, how we deal with people, the really dark, ugly sides of us. Usually romantic partners bring out, but they also bring out a very beautiful side to us as well, a very nurturing and caring, loving side to us. So if you have a Capricorn in the 7th house, you're a Cancer rising, or you have an intercepted house, making Capricorn your 7th house. And with Pluto here, we're looking at behaviors, we're looking at old wounds, but not just looking at them and just being like, and playing the victim and being like, oh, I'm this way because my parents were all messed up, and my mom was an alcoholic, and my dad was abusive, and they had a terrible relationship. Nah, put that victim thing away, because guess what? It sucks to say this, but there's people that have it worse. And newsflash, your past does not define you. You choose it to define you. You allow it to define you. You allow your upbringing to define the way that you treat people. You know, when you ever get into a relationship with someone and they're really, really toxic, and they're just like, oh, and then they use like their the way that they were raised as an excuse. If you're doing that, don't do it. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. You're actually causing more pain onto yourself than if you were to look within yourself and be like, okay, this is the root of the problem. How can I change it? How can I change it and make myself a better person? How can I make myself a better person so that my relationships strengthen, so that the people stay in my life? You know? Sometimes Cancer ascendants have the ability to drain the partner that they're with if they're in a more negative vibration. Cancer risings can be very, very a beautiful sign to be in a relationship. One of the best signs to be in a relationship with, when they are vibrating at this higher frequency, when they understand and let go of past relationships, because that cancer energy has the ability to hold on to wounds and hurts for so long. And Cancer risings have this ability to be hurt one time, to be devoted and loyal and generous and open to one person, and then the second that they get out of that relationship and they realize how toxic it was or how hurt they are after that relationship, they go into that Cancerian shell, that crab shell, and they just close off and they become cold and hard. It's not going to work in this time. If you go against the current, see those behaviors that Cancerians can have when they're emitting that lower frequency, that's what's being asked to be reassessed and reanalyzed. Look at those past wounds, look at those hurts, acknowledge them, but move on from them. That doesn't mean call your ex up for closure. You can find closure doing that by yourself, by meditating, by analyzing your behaviors, from understanding that you are a different person now, that you changed, that you want this in a partnership, that you want this in a marriage. That's how you let go. That's how you move on. You throw yourself into something new, whether that's work, whether that's friendships, whether that's things that have to deal with your creativity. That's how you move on. But you always have to acknowledge the pain and allow yourself to release it and assert yourself and be like, okay, this is what's wrong. This is the root of the problem. Maybe it's your childhood. Maybe it's previous relationships that have caused you to emit toxic behaviors or caused you to attract toxic partners into your life. But once you acknowledge that, it's really, really time to kind of let go of that. Because if you don't, either Pluto's going to take out the person that you're in a toxic relationship with now, you're going to feel out of control, and you're just going to repeat that cycle where it's like, I'm hurting, and now I'm closed off because I was hurt, all of this stuff. Or Pluto's going to bring another toxic partner into your life, and you're going to have to repeat that cycle. That sign Capricorn is going to bring in a lot of karmic relationships, whether they be past or whether they be new ones that you're attracting. If they're past relationships and you've acknowledged, it's like kind of this, Cancers have this thing where it's like, when they finally start to move on in past the relationship, then their toxic ex comes back. You know what I mean? They come back to bother them. They come back to leech. And then a lot of times, Cancers will interact with their ex one way or another. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. They're not worth it. They're not worth it. Don't even text back. Don't do it. Just let it be. Just let it be. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't. You can send them good vibes and good love and all that without them even being there. I definitely recommend you do that instead of going back and to them and physically speaking to them and verbally speaking to them, all of that. So let go of those people that are bad for you. Realize that you're so much more. If you're in a relationship now, things may be uncovered, so I've been shuffling and stuff. Cards have fallen out, so I'm gonna give this my best shot, So I'm just gonna go over some themes. We got the Lovers here, so automatically 7th house, right? So when I was like meditating, because what I do is I meditate before I read, and I'm asking, I'll be like shuffling the tarot, and I'm like, okay, help me communicate Pluto in retrograde transiting the 7th house. Cards will pop up. First two cards that popped up, the Moon and the Lovers. So sign of Cancer, Moon, the Lovers, relationships, 7th house. It's the Gemini energy, but the Lovers in general is just a relationship card, you feel me? So it's like things may be uncovered regarding your relationships. Also, we have 9 of Swords, the cage that we build for ourselves, the swords that we internalize, the swords that we lose sleep over, in a sense, the hurts and the pains that we lose sleep over. And then the Hierophant came out with that. And how I interpret it is that, yeah, you may uncover things in your relationships. Don't get me wrong, that can happen. But there's also this pain and these wounds that we can inflict on ourselves, you feel me? Even if they're in relationships that we discover. But it's important to maintain this Hierophant energy, where it's almost like you understand your power and you understand your worth. Therefore, it's not worth losing sleep over. Now we have like the 10 of Wands. It's kind of like carrying your losses on your back. It's like holding grief, carrying it, instead of letting it go. We have the 2 of Wands here, and how I interpret it is choosing between two things. So if you're choosing between two partners right now, maybe take a step back before you jump into any of them. Maybe don't choose any partner and just choose yourself for right now. We also, that one also came up with the 3 of Cups. Very important to not flirt with other people if you're in a relationship right now. It's almost like this 5 of Cups here also, and then you have the 2 of Pentacles. So there's almost like a juggling of options, and there's also reminiscing of the past and past relationships, wanting something back, wanting a partner back, being in a relationship with someone even though you're in love with someone else. All of those behaviors regarding 3 people need to be let go of. Maybe it's time to say goodbye to both of them and just focus on yourself for a little bit. Throw yourself in work, throw yourself in creative works, and to your friends and all that. Uncovering truths about your relationships, about yourself, but not playing the victim. Don't play the victim. Just hold that energy and acknowledge that nothing can hurt you, that you are powerful as you are. That's how you'll attract someone good. The person that you want, the person that you dream of, the person that you imagine your future with. That 7th house in Capricorn means you need a stable partner, emotionally stable, financially stable. So if you're not attracting that, maybe it starts to act as if you deserve that. That's how you'll attract it. If you're juggling people right now, you need to either make a decision about who you want, or you need to let them be. Maybe you're choosing between being in a relationship and just being single, and you're not choosing between 2 people. That can be it. But don't forget that it's not just about toxicity and letting go of toxicity and toxic behaviors within yourself and uncovering toxic behaviors within someone else. This is also a time that relationships and bonds, Six of Swords, leave the past behind, don't let the ex in. It's also a time to kind of renew and re-strengthen your relationships if you want them to. Go on more dates with your partner. Listen to them. Think about their needs and wants just as much as you think about yours. Don't be manipulative in this time. Cancers have the ability to manipulate so well. They can do this thing where it's like they can pretend that they are into the flings. They can be like, oh, I just want to fling. Like we can just hook up. No problem. I won't catch feelings at all. And then they catch like the maddest feelings. Like, bro, like they can get so angry and so jealous and so possessive, but they can not show you that they are mad and jealous and angry. They can internalize it all. Don't do that. Stand in your power, know your worth, but be very honest what you want in a relationship. Also, if you want a long-term relationship, say it. If you don't, say it. Don't play with anybody's feelings, especially if they're your friend and stuff. The Hermit also came up, which just means going within yourself and looking at the root of the problem that's within yourself. Maybe it's not just your behaviors, but your belief, what you believe you're worthy of, the relationship you believe you're worthy of. What you believe is what you attract. What you believe is what you attract. And why is that? Because your beliefs become your thoughts become your feelings become your vibration, and your vibration becomes your outcome. It's all this domino effect, and it's all moving quite fast. Revelations may happen quite fast. Don't cheat. You will get caught. Pluto's all about uncovering the truth, like I said before. So it's important not to cheat. Don't do that. Be strong. Strength. Loyal. Don't cheat. Be loyal. Be strong within whatever wounds that you uncover. Maintain your power. Be strong. Be strong. Carry yourself with a lot of class, with a lot of class and elegance. Be diplomatic in your arguments. Detach your feelings from your arguments. You guys can be very logical sometimes, but when you're arguing, there can be a detachment. There can be you argue with your feelings when it comes to arguments in a relationship. And because you do that, you're not speaking clearly, you're not getting your points across clearly, you're just seeming like a confused, crazy mess. So when you detach your feelings from it, maybe you'll address it better. You guys also have this tendency in relationships and partnerships to do this crab walk thing where you don't address the problem, you walk around it. That's what makes you moody. That's what makes you seem moody. You know what you're feeling, you know what's wrong, but like to other people, if you do that crab walk thing, it's impossible to deal with. Okay? Be diplomatic in your arguments. Be respectful towards your partner. Demand respect back with your energy, not verbally. Okay, I think that's it. I wanted to do something different. That's why I read the tarot. Last card. Two of Cups. So let's talk about what happens after Pluto goes direct and you've done all this internal work and you've looked at your psychological problems, you looked at your partner, what you want in a marriage, how you can fix it, how you can attract it, yada yada yada. You have the opportunity to attract your soulmate once Pluto goes direct. Once you pull out those weeds and you plant new ones, you have the opportunity to attract a really awesome person. It's all up to you, really. If you want to stay in toxic things, if you want to stay in the fantasies that you create in your head, or if you want to move on with your life and attract new things. Pluto's all about change, also, transforming yourself. Here you're going to find transformation through relationships in this time. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the whole card thing. If you thought it was good or bad, be honest, because I'm thinking about doing this for every reading, like every video now. Alright. Good luck with you guys. Bye. Sorry if I was like redundant or slow. I was really just trying to like collect my thoughts. There was a lot going on. Anyways, bye.